22 years ago, Sean P. Diddy Combs told the world on live television how he liked to party. But it wasn't a problem then. Why? Until powerful people thought that they were in the videos that he had recorded when Little Rod and Cassie dropped their civil lawsuits. Let me show you the real concern for why P. Diddy is being prosecuted now versus 22 years ago. I need y'all to pay close attention. Let's get into some of this straight game.
Life is like cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and click on what appears to be that little bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is ironic to me that Sean P. Diddy Combs has never really hidden from the world the way he likes to party. As a matter of fact, the people that attended those parties, sometimes just regular parties, and then sometimes it may have been, something going on at the after party or whatever, and what they would consider now freak-offs. But Sean P. Diddy Combs has never hidden from this. So I don't understand why it is such a surprise to most people that he would, be kind of this pariah at this moment in time. I understand the Cassie lawsuit. I understand the video with Cassie, and what that showed us about him, right? But he's always told us how he liked to party. Let me get into these facts. 22 years ago, Sean P. Diddy Combs did an interview with Conan O'Brien. Look, I want you to pay attention to this, and then I'm going to show you as to the real concern that people had once the information came out. And not that it's only politically motivated, but like I said, it's motivated to prevent any collateral damage from any of those tapes actually being released. Remember, they said we got tapes too. We don't know if they got all the tapes, but look, while Sean P. Diddy Combs faces sex trafficking and racketeering charges, an old video of the interview of the rapper had resurfaced with him joking about locking women in at parties. In 2002, the mogul appeared on the late night with Conan O'Brien and explained the ingredients for a killer party. Women, beautiful women, of course. Combs shared with O'Brien. Beautiful men for the ladies, of course. There's enough ladies to go around. You have to give the ladies what they need too. You have to take care of your women. You can't force the situation. Did you hear that? Sean P. Diddy Combs said, you can't force the situation. You have to take care of your ladies and give them what they need. So now he's not implying, listen, and this is on television. Y'all might want to go and check out the interview. He's saying you can't force the situation, right? This is what he's saying back in 2002. He continued to say that alcohol is a requirement at the party, in addition to water. A lot of ladies drink water at parties. So if you don't have what they need, they're going to leave. Got to keep them there. You need locks on the doors. It's a little kinky. Conan replied, this is sounding kind of dangerous now. right? So I'm going to give you the rest. So now, Sean P. Diddy Combs is describing the type of party. You want the ladies, alcohol, water, and all of those things at the party so that they can have a good time. So, and Conan said, he said locks on the door. Now, one can make an inference and say, well, lock on the door, so he can keep the girls in. Or it can be locks on the door so you can keep people out from coming in to seeing what you're doing, if it's in an adjacent room or whatever. That's up to the person's own interpretation of what Sean P. Diddy Combs meant when he said that. Once again, like I said, you look at it. He says, a lot of ladies drink water at parties, right? So if you don't have what they need, they're going to leave. Got to keep them there. You need locks on the doors. It's a little kinky. So he already mentioned that it was going to be kinky. It was, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't find anything wrong with kinky stuff or whatever, but he's being honest about what he was into. Conan replied, this is sounding kind of dangerous now, right? Let's move on. Check this out now. Then he said, Combs, 54, also suggested keeping the air conditioning off to make the room hotter for the party guests to get comfortable and loose. Builds up a nice little sweat, Combs remarked. Conan responded, that just sounds disgusting, right? Combs' this interview basically resurfaced after he was accused of being the leader of a criminal enterprise and a bombshell indictment hours after the rapper was arrested in a lobby at the Park Hyatt New York City hotel. Now, let's digest this. 2002, man. 2002, this interview took place. Why didn't anybody do anything then? See, once again, they want to tell you this is on TV. There was no investigation done, right? He wasn't with Cassie at that particular time, right? And so that goes to say that Sean P. Diddy Combs has been having these kind of parties for a while now. You know what I mean? Girls, liquor, water, drugs, whatever. You know what I mean? Saying that, there's got to be locks on the doors. You know what I mean? Not that he's locking someone in, but he could be locks on the doors to make sure nobody comes in. You know what I mean? It could be leave out too, but you can interpret that whichever way you want to interpret that, right? But the interpretation that they're trying to get you to have is the fact that he was, locking people in. You know what I mean? Locking the girls, keeping them, holding them against their will. This is in 2002, 2002, right? Nobody came forward. Nobody made any kind of accusations or none of that, right? So when you understand what that means and what this is implying from that perspective, right? You see what I'm saying? So now, we're in now 2024. When we talk about the Cassie lawsuit and what she came out and she said, boom, that was what that was, settled. And then take the language that's in that lawsuit. I want you to, if you haven't read it, please read it. You read the language that's in that lawsuit. Then came Little Rod, who was a producer who worked with Diddy, said that Diddy, they didn't want to give him his publishing. He was owed money in the sum of $50,000 at that particular time, which I told y'all, I think Sean P. Diddy Combs should have paid that money. A lot of the stuff he brung on himself. But once again, believe in your own hype and power and the fact that you got high-powered lawyers and an endless amount of discretionary funds to fight legal cases and things of that nature, right, is what led him to this situation right now. And I'm going to show you how and why that the indictment is based purely on the Little Rod situation and the Cassie situation, and partially some of the other things that resurfaced in regards to other lawsuits that were filed against him, but mainly those two. And I'm going to show you why. So now, if in 2002, Sean P. Diddy Combs was talking about all of these things that he was doing, you know what I mean? As you can see, right? In a 2002 interview, that's 22 years ago, right? Okay. Beautiful women, beautiful men for the ladies, of course, like I said. And so it was no secret about what he liked and what he was involved in. You understand that? So now let me give you this, and we're gonna read through this, and I'm gonna show you why it became a problem. Little Rod put it in his lawsuit. And once again, remember this part of the lawsuit that happened in regards to when Little Rod said high power executives, NBA players, right, and political figures he mentioned that were on these freak-off tapes that Sean P. Diddy Combs allegedly told him about in regards to what he was doing and so on and so forth. So now, once again, check this out, and I want you to understand, this is from the indictment. Once you're going to understand what I'm talking about when you see this. You're going to be like, oh, wow, I get it now. Now, C, Combs subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse to cause the victims to engage in freak-offs. Combs maintained control over his victims through, among other things, physical violence, promises of career opportunities, granting and threatening to withhold financial support, and by others coercive means, including tracking their whereabouts, dictating the victim's appearance, monitoring their medical records, controlling their housing, and supplying them with controlled substances. I'm going to pause right there. That's Cassie. Medical records. Remember, it was said that P. Diddy wanted Cassie to cut her hair, right? Controlling their careers and how, if they would have advancement in their career. That was Little Rod. Also, Little Rod said P. Diddy promised him the fact that he could have him nominated for a Grammy from that perspective in his lawsuit. So you can understand the undertones of what this is about, right? But once again, I'm going to show you what really triggered most of what's going on right now in the RICO Act and why that was on the way that it's on now. Look, you see most of the things. Medical records. Who? What medical records of who? Of the sexual workers that they're talking about? No, of Cassie, because she was his girlfriend, right? And so check it out. We're gonna go down to more, right? During and separate from the freak-offs, Combs, among other things, hit, kicked, threw objects, and dragged victims at times by their hair. These assaults often resulted in injuries that took days or weeks to heal. Cassie, once again, that was also brought up in Cassie's lawsuit, so we can see what this is based on, right? But this is the RICO and the Diddy indictment that just came out. So this is what this is based on, if you read and you understand the information. Combs also threatened victims' careers and livelihoods, including if they resisted participating in the freak-offs. That was Little Rod. And that possibly could have been Cassie also from that perspective. That's what was stated in the civil cases. Victims believe they could not refuse Combs' demands without risking their financial or job security without repercussions in the form of physical or emotional abuse. Little Rod stated that in his lawsuit. We've seen what happened to Cassie. But this is the part right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the part right here that sprung up all of what's really happening right now, because people know that they were at the parties, right? Listen, this is the part that and this came from Little Rod's lawsuit as well as Cassie's lawsuit, but more defined in the Little Rod lawsuit, if you will. Check this out. Combs also used the sensitive, embarrassing, and incriminating recordings that he made during the freak-offs as collateral to ensure continued obedience and silence of his victims. Once again, Combs also used the sensitive, embarrassing, and incriminating recordings that he made during freak-offs as collateral to ensure continued obedience and silence of his victims. That's what's really popping off, y'all. Let me tell you something. We've seen some of the birthday parties, but like I said, the interview was from 2002. So we don't know all of the people that were actually at that type of party. We've seen the regular party, the birthday party, people dancing, Kanye, Jay-Z, all of these parties, and you can go back on the internet and look at the parties. But the key was when Little Rod put that in his lawsuit talking about high-level executives, NBA ball players, and all of those things. There you have it. That's the motivating factor, right? And there was a news report just recently basically saying, can Sean P. Diddy Combs be muted? Muted, meaning silenced. In regards to what? What could he possibly say that he didn't say in 2002 on the interview with Conan O'Brien? That was 22 years ago. That was before he even met Cassie. Right? So this has been going on for a long time. How far does it really go back? Right? You see, so when we talk about that, that's the thing that people are missing. Right? So now it's interstate prostitution and so on and so forth. Right? So what they want us to believe in the indictment, like I said, I haven't seen any evidence. I've only seen allegations. I'm waiting to see this unfold as you are waiting to see this unfold. But I'm taking what's in the documents, right? And then I'm taking other evidence, or should I say facts, involving the interview, which is in 2002, and then you mesh those together, right? You can't have one without the other. P. Diddy is openly saying, hey, this is what I like, you know. It's going to be a little kinky. I got, you know, the girls for the guys for the girls. You know what I mean? And we having a party, right? So now, if this has been going on since 2002, where were the complaints then? Right? It wasn't until it came out and Lil Rod said something about high-level executives, NBA ball players, and politicians being allegedly on those tapes, that you seen the ball begin to roll. The ball began to roll then. Oh, what? You know, and then now, after that situation happened, then we seen the raid come. What are they looking for? Evidence of what? Evidence of who is actually on those tapes. And so therefore, we come with a charge. And so if he's saying back then, I'm getting pretty girls for the guys, you know, handsome men for the ladies, right? This wasn't nothing new. You got to understand that you got to match those two things together and say, well, damn, this what he didn't seem like he was doing any criminal acts in 2002 when he told Conan O'Brien live on his television show, right? So what was he doing differently this time now versus when he said it live on TV? There wasn't no investigation started. You know what I mean? So all of this information came from the civil suits and talking about, well, paying girls or having, you know, the young girl, Christina Karam, having bags of cash, sending people out to get drugs or whatever, right? Now, in most people's world, you know, you go and get liquor, he gonna go buy some smoke, you know what I mean? Your dude gonna bring over the whatever and so on and so forth. That's pretty par for the course, right? Ain't nothing. He said it in 2002, you know, we're gonna have this liquor, you know, make sure, you know, and the doors got to have locks on them, you know what I mean? So people can't come in, or better yet, what other people want them in fur, so the people can't get out. We locking them in, you know what I mean? Like I said, depending on what side you leaning on and what you want to believe, right? Okay, cool. Sound like he was doing the same thing. And it was still going on. The baby oil, whatever that was for, probably part of what he was doing and when he had the parties at his house and all of those things. So now, if you can understand that when the most powerful part about this whole thing, Combs also used the sensitive, embarrassing, and incriminating recordings that he made during the freak-offs as collateral to ensure continued obedience and silence of his victims. Now, you can't embarrass no sex worker with a tape of them doing their job. Like, yo, that's what I do. You know what I mean? You're like trying to embarrass a porn star, for something that they doing, right? Listen, you can't embarrass, you know what I mean? You probably can embarrass somebody, an executive. See, because Sean P. Diddy Combs got millions of dollars, right? You can NBA ball player, a politician, like I said, or like in Cassie from that perspective, right? And I could see how that could work from, trying to embarrass her. Little Rod from that perspective, and saying that. But like I said, once again, when I looked at the Little Rod situation, I was like, well, damn, he said that he got drugged one time and then he stayed around. Man, after the first drug, and I'm gone. What? If I even felt like I was doing, what's the name, man, look, I'm dialing 911. I ain't feeling good. I need an ambulance. And that's just what that's going to be. Like I said, everybody handles different situations differently. And for whatever reason that they handle those situations, up to them. But as I read this indictment a little bit more carefully, I'm seeing where all the information is coming from. I'm like, oh, okay. But more importantly, what was the catalyst for moving forward? If it didn't happen in 2002 when he was saying all of these things, everybody thought that was perfectly cool. Conan even said, sound dangerous, and this is what it was. Let's go, like I said, Conan O'Brien, basically, he made it, what'd he say? That just sounds disgusting, right? Right? That's what Conan O'Brien said, right? So now, it was disgusting back then, but didn't raise any eyebrows. Nobody was complaining. Nobody said anything. I guess everybody was with it. So this is why I say we must maintain a thought pattern of, okay, cool. Like I said, I don't condone anything involving disrespecting any woman, mistreating Cassie like he did her. I don't condone none of that. That was wrong. But that should have been prosecuted, right? And the person that he paid off at the hotel for keeping quiet took the money. So was that person not complicit in the abuse of Cassie? There should be charges brought against, like I said, we are selective sometimes in how we like to think about who and what should be charged, right? But he paid the people off at the hotel. That's why the video never came out until recently about Cassie, right? And like I said, I'm not going to speak on Cassie's fear or situation and why she didn't go and report it. You know what I mean? As we can see, she was being abused. She was being abused. She was being verbally assaulted and abused. There's no excuse for that. Like I said. And so I won't get into her mind frame because, like I said, she is a victim in this situation from that perspective. But like I said, once again, from 2002 to 2024, what was the catalyst to move forward now? The catalyst was, and I'm going to show you one more time, the catalyst was this. Combs used sensitive, embarrassing, and incriminating recordings that he made during freak-offs as collateral to ensure the continued obedience and silence of the victims. Remember, Lil Rod said that he was in, Florida, I believe, and that Sir Lucian Grange came down and him and P. Diddy went in the room And he said that they didn't come out for hours for whatever reason. These are allegations that Little Rod made. Don't know if it's true, right? We don't understand. We don't really know, right? We just knowing what we're reading. We don't really have any kind of evidence to corroborate any of what this is. What we do have is Sean P. Diddy Combs admitting on television, on Conan O'Brien, how he likes to party. What we have is the Cassie tape and him abusing and kicking and disrespecting somebody that he said he loved, right? We have all of those things. But the government now says that they have some of those freak-off tapes. What was the government looking for in all of those raids? They raided all of those. They weren't looking for no drugs. They wasn't looking for no guns, right? Like I said, I don't believe Sean P. Diddy Combs is a convicted felon. And I believe he can own firearms, and from that perspective. You know what I mean? So that wouldn't be part of the motivation to go and raid his house. What was the motivation? The tapes. They need to see who's on the tapes. This has to happen. This is federal. This is the federal government. This is not the state, right? So I bring this to you today to hopefully you'll understand the bigger picture of what this really is about, right? And so now the coercion and all of the things that he was trying to do, I want to hear that evidence also, the phone calls, and saying whatever he was saying. And I hope they bring that out in court so we can determine if it's as sinister as they say it is. Because a lot of times, the sensationalism that comes with an indictment. I've seen people get indicted and they charge them as kingpins, and they might was getting 1 or 2 bricks or something like that, but they were saying that they were bringing in 40 pounds a week or whatever, right? Never to really prove that was what that was. For the sensationalism, we live in an environment where the government can be, they can sensationalize a lot of stuff too. Remember the soldier who they said was a hero, and I forgot Pat, and he played football too, and they was telling us, they told us he was a hero, he did all of this, and he was saved all of these people and all of that, and when the truth came out that he had died from friendly fire, they had to come out and actually tell that story like it really happened. Didn't make him no less of a hero for serving his country and sacrificing his life. And all of those, that made him a hero from day one. They didn't need to add that story on to what made him and why he had got killed. But then they came out with the truth and said he died from friendly fire, when they said and he went out in a blaze of glory and it was all of this, that, and the other. I'm just giving you some of this straight game, man. So we got to be careful. Like I said, I can't wait to see the evidence. And like I said, this is no way in favor or against Sean P. Diddy Combs. This is just straight game. This is just straight game. And so, like I said, when you understand and you read carefully, not to respond, read not or listen to respond or read to respond, but read to comprehend and understand. Your boy DELRAY, straight game.